Okay, hello everyone. This is Wes at Home talking to Lori Stokes, who is the co-chair of the Dog Park Steering Committee on San Juan Island just outside of Friday Harbor. And Lori is going to give us an introduction to the dog park and the people behind it that made it happen.
Okay, thanks a lot for asking. We have a wonderful 2-acre dog park that opened in September. It's located right on the outskirts of Friday Harbor and is the very first off-leash park that we've had on the island. What happened was a small group of just citizen types decided that it would be nice to have a place to be able to take dogs to run off-leash. And we sort of found each other and formed a little committee. I am the co-chair of that committee, and my partner in the committee, the other chair, is a gentleman by the name of Jim Spiegel, who happens to be a blind man who has a seeing eye dog that has been with him for 4 years. And this dog, Rinda, he felt really needed a place where he could take the dog and let her loose just to be a dog. She's always on a harness or a leash, and he felt it was really important for this wonderful yellow lab to be able to just run around and play like a dog. So the two of us kind of put our heads together with a small group of other interested people, and we our first idea was to put a petition out there and see if we could get signatures from people who wanted to have who felt having a dog park on the island would be a good idea. And in a matter of days, we got well over 600 signatures. So it was very clear that people on the island thought it was a great idea. So our next step was to try to find where we could have this thing. And to make a very long story short, we looked and ultimately ended up with a wonderful donation from Brown's Brown's Home Center. Terry Brown, who's one of the owners, had a vacant piece of land adjacent to the home center on Mullis. It's 2 acres big, and he essentially donated it to us. He had us sign a lease for $1 a year for 5 years and said we could use that land. And it is just ideal for the park. It's got big trees, and it's very near town, and we could put in a parking lot. It was just wonderful. So then we started fundraising, and our main fundraising plan was to have little signs on the fence. And people who were interested in supporting the park could give us $100, and for that $100 they would be able to make a little sign in memory of a dog that they had loved or a dog that they now had or whatever, and we would put it up on the fence. We've had well over 120 people buy signs. We also decided to put benches in the park that are handmade, beautiful benches by an island artisan whose name is Billy Moss. And we basically sold those for $400 each, and we got 4 donors who gave us $400 each and underwrote the cost of those benches, which are now situated around the park under trees. They're just beautiful. And we also got a lot of support from the Rotary Club that became our official partner in this, and other support from Island Rec, which is the organization on the island that basically our sponsor. They consider us one of their parks, and they covered us under their liability insurance, which was really an important thing, and are essentially serving as our fiscal agent so that we don't have to be our own nonprofit. We're just part of Island Rec. It took us less than a year to raise the $20,000 that was necessary to buy primarily fencing. That was our biggest expense. And we needed to mow the property and have signs made and get poop bags and poop bag dispensers and that sort of thing. And that $20,000 was raised by primarily, as I said, selling the signs, but also the benches and other donations. Some of the donations were donations in kind. For instance, Susan Corrali, a dentist in town, donated the gazebo that we can use for shelter. And the biggest donation was actually from Rich Lawson, who's a local contractor who put in the parking lot, basically at no charge to us at all. He donated all the time and materials and put us in compliance with the county stormwater runoff requirements at the same time. So that was a huge donation. We opened on September the 6th. We had a nice party at the park, and we estimate that maybe 80 dogs and 150 or so people showed up on a beautiful fall day. And the park has been operating since then just happily. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. It's open every day from 7 in the morning until the sun goes down at no charge to the people who live on the island or the people who are visiting the island. And it is it's just such a wonderful place. Every time I go, I meet new people. The dogs all play. They're chasing tennis balls and frisbees and other assorted things. And it's just turned into a wonderful community place on San Juan Island. So that's basically a summary. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
So are the main people that use it, are they, I mean, there's a lot of people who live out of town on the island, so they probably have places for their dogs to run. Are these people bringing their dogs in to work and they're leaving them there for the day, or what, who are the biggest users?
You can't leave your dog there. You have to be there with your dog. It's an off-leash park, and one of the requirements is that you're there to supervise your dog. But it's an interesting question that you've asked. When we first hatched this idea, there were people who lived outside of town who had acreage and said, why does this island need a dog park? I have places to run my dog. These people absolutely use the park now, because what they've discovered is that dogs love to play with other dogs. And a lot of dogs need what can be loosely called socialization. They like to be in a place, or need to be in a place, where they learn how to play safely and interact well with other animals and with people. So it's turned out that this park is a place where animals can have a good time and learn social skills. And on top of that, their people love to come to the park because it's a social meeting place. If you go to the park, people are standing around talking to each other, interacting with their dogs and with other people's dogs. And it's really, the park is as much for the people as it is for the dogs. Every time I go, I meet somebody that I didn't know before. It's just a real comfortable place to say, hi, my name is Lori, what's your name, or what's your dog's name? And conversations start up, and somebody even brought in a little whiteboard to put there where you can write down that, I'm here every day at 3, and, I'd love to have other dogs that are my dog's size show up. And so it's become a real communication tool. And that reminds me, there is a feature of the park that I didn't specifically say. It's actually 2 parks. We have an area that's specifically fenced separately for small dogs under 30 pounds and older dogs who, for reasons of size or age, just aren't comfortable being in a park with lots of big dogs running around. So there's a small dog area that is used, not as much, but is used by people who have little creatures that want to play on their own. So, and another feature of the park is it's got what's called a double gated entry, which is a safety tool, so that animals that are coming in and going out are in a holding area before they either get to the parking lot or they get into the main dog park area. That's a very common feature, which is considered to be pretty important in terms of safety.
That is great. And so for any visitors coming to the dog park, could you give them a quick explanation of how to get there?
Sure. You just, from the center of town, which is Spring Street, the Spring Street is the street that runs right through the center of town. When you drive up the hill from the water on Spring Street, you make a left. You pass through the main business section of Friday Harbor, and you make a left on a little street called Mullis. And you just follow Mullis, and after you pass Brown's Home Center on the left side of the street, just past Brown's Home Center, you'll see a driveway with a sign that says Eddie and Friends Dog Park, and you make a left into that parking lot, and there's a nice parking lot right adjacent to the dog park that's off Mullis Street, where you can park your car, and the park is right there, and there's no charge.
Well, that's great. Again, this is Lori Stokes from the Eddie and Friends Dog Park. Thank you very much for your time today. That was really fun.
Okay, super.